Alright, so I'm gonna teach you how to animate how I do. And we're gonna start with cubes. So we're gonna make this cube do an entire 360, and we're gonna do this by focusing on the pivot point, just like this. The pivot point is this white part right here. You see it going up and down. And then if you don't see it, you can always activate the pivot by going down to your general settings right here if you don't have it opened already. And then click show pivot. See, it's off now because I turned it off. And then you turn it on. Now you can see it. So I'm gonna be focusing on making these. So I'm gonna create a shape. Can be any shape. And we're going to make this. Okay. And then we're going to connect the object to the eye. We call this part the eye. And then the bottom part the body. Right? And now we can start animating by looking at the frames. The play is copy and paste and add. We're going to start the frame like this. So this is going to be our first frame. And then we're going to click add. I'm going to add another frame. And then here are the options you have to select multiple objects at a time. This also has the move and rotate things like this, which I don't prefer using. I prefer using this, rotate. Now we're going to take the cube and then snap it to the right, like this. And if you don't have the snapping like I do, you can turn it on grid here. See? And then that's it. You just turn it 90 degrees. Like this. Now it should be going like this. You see? It doesn't look like it's moving, but it does. It is. Trust me. You see this? It's only thumping like this because of the pivot point is that it's not centered and it is following it. So it's taking the pivot point and it's going like this. See? It's kind of like twisting. So it kind of makes it thump a little bit. And then you can, play the animation by pressing number 1. See? It's playing. And then we're going to take the exact same cube to show you how to make it like this, perfectly rotating. We're going to grab another animation gizmo. And we're going to do this, connect it from the body to the eye, or vice versa, from the eye to the body of the shape. And now we can click edit on here, and then we can see all our settings. Again, we're going to keep this to the exact same steps. We're going to add another frame and then rotate around like this. Uh-oh, I made the mistake of not centering. Actually, I can show you that if you animate this first, like let's say for example, you already have the animation made and set up, and then you, hold on, right? This is how we have the animation, exactly like this. Same thing. Same exact thing as that one. Right? Um, and if we want to make it like this, we have to center the pivot point. So you make it go from this to this just by clicking edit on the object, selecting, and then centering the pivot point. But you should never center the pivot point whenever you have the animation pre-made, because then it will just mess up. And it doesn't even look like, you see this, the differences? This one is just snapping back into place. This one is at least smooth. This one is off the pivot point. See? It's doing the exact same thing, it's just going from left to right. So, yes. Here's how we can fix the thumping. See? We centered pivot on this one. The only issue with this is you can't center the pivot whenever the animation is pre-made. So now we can take the same exact cube and we're going to do the same steps. Right? We're going to click edit on the object. Oops, we're going to click edit, select, and then it's going to say the options. Now click center pivot on selection. And then I'm going to spawn in the animation gizmo. We're going to do the exact same thing. Body to the eye. And then we're going to keep it the exact same and then just click add. You add a frame and then you just rotate it. And then that's it. You have your animation perfectly rotating. You can also implement this into other things like wheels. So for example, I can have like a perfect circle and I make it face this way. And it looks like it's a wheel, kind of just rotating. So I made some gears from my inventions a long time ago. Right? And here's how it's supposed to look. See? Perfectly rounded, except the texture kind of just goes back and then snaps. So the reason I have two is because one doesn't have the pivot centered. See how it's off? This one has a pivot perfectly centered. And I just want to show you the differences again. Like this. You connect it from the eye to the body. So this is the normal one. So I'm starting that this one goes up top, and this is how you make the wheel. So we're going to keep this just like that, because if I rotate it, it snaps a perfect 90 degrees every time. So every side looks exactly the same. See how I'm like rotating it? Every side looks exactly the same. So I can keep this frame just how it is, facing upright, and then I'm going to add a frame, and then I'm going to snap it once to the right. See? Same exact thing. Now we can configure and set the signal. See, now it's a perfect spinning gear, except for the textures bouncing back, but that's alright. Now if I do the exact same thing on this one, right? Connecting it to the body, to the object. Alright, I've set this one to 1. And since this one already looks the exact same, and I rotate it, you see how the pivot is right here? If I rotate it here, it goes from here to here, which looks exactly the same on every side. But now when I play it, see the bumping? That's what happens. And just like I said here, how it snaps, if you center the pivot point whenever the animation is already pre-made and running, see, you click select and then edit, select, and then press the options with the split shapes right here. Not split shapes, sorry. Center pivot on selection. I center it and now it's all messed up. Centering pivots never works when you have a pre-made animation. And then that'll be all for today. I'll see y'all in like 2 minutes because I'm gonna record another one. So yeah, that's it.